Hi, everyone. Glad to have you here. This is the place where we share real horror stories that will make you think twice before turning off the lights. If you enjoyed true creepy experiences, don't forget to subscribe and hit the notification bell. Now let's get into today's story. I'm 19, from Florida. I'd been talking to a guy on an app called Yobu. I don't know if you've heard of it, but it's relatively popular. It's centered around making friends. You swipe on people, and if you match, you start chatting. But mostly, it was a bunch of weird guys sending gross requests. I won't go into those. I'd get messages daily. Not just one or two, but 50, 60, sometimes even 100. It was always guys I wasn't attracted to, either because of how they looked, rarely, or, more often, how they talked to me. You'd be surprised how many guys I actually thought were cute, but I was immediately turned off by their lines. Hey, cutie, can I see a pic? Hey, babe. Hey, mom. Disgusting. All of them were just perverted. I looked around. My dad had no idea who I should date. I wanted a boyfriend, but I struggled. Maybe I'm just not built for this generation. But then there was one guy I thought I might give a chance to. He wasn't exactly a nice guy, but he didn't send me random photos, nor did he ask for any. He talked about his hobbies, not just sexual stuff, and I respected that. Actually, I found it kind of cool. He liked to skate, and he'd send me videos on Snapchat of him dropping ramps. He was pretty good, so I kept talking to him. Unlike the other weirdos, I gave him my Snapchat. It took a long time for me to build up the confidence to meet him. He only lived 3 or 4 miles away, and he was totally my type. At that point, we'd been talking for about a month. I realized I couldn't lead this guy on anymore. He'd asked me out on a date probably 4 times already. I kept turning him down with excuses. Eventually, I admitted I was just terrified of meeting him. I'd only ever met one guy before, from a basketball team I used to play for. He was on the men's top team. The date with him was awful. And now I just associated all dates with that kind of disaster. It was a bad habit. Pretty biased, honestly. I looked in the mirror and thought, if I don't give this guy a chance and actually leave the damn house, I'm going to be single forever. Just me, a few cats, a cramped apartment, and a job I hate. That's not to say I expected a guy to earn all the money, but I do expect him to take care of me, and I'd take care of him in return. The day we met was difficult. It was 9 p.m., arguably too late to start a first date with someone you've never seen in person. But it was midsummer, so it was already pitch black out. It had been humid all day, 95% humidity, 38 degrees Celsius. Still, for Florida midsummer, this was one of the milder days. I remember meeting him and thinking, wow, this is actually happening. I'm meeting the guy I've been talking to for 40 days. He was awkward too, I could tell, but in a cute way. He didn't act weird, just shy. We were both still teenagers. We walked around the park. He had a flashlight. At no point did I feel like it was a bad idea, even though I probably should have. I told my dad we were going bowling, which was a lie. We were supposed to, but plans changed because the lanes were fully booked. It was Friday night. As we walked, we talked about random things, trees, people walking their dogs. Then he started talking about skating, which I expected. It bored me a little, but I still thought it was cool that he was decent at it. We reached the furthest end of the park. Past that point was woodland, thick bush. Even with the flashlight, it was hard to see anything. The pine trees were so dense, I looked around and thought, we should probably head back now. But he was the tall one, 6'1", and he had the light. So I stayed quiet and let him lead. Bad decision. He kept walking, deeper into the woods. Yep, I'm not even joking. For a second, I hesitated, but then I followed him, thinking, he just wants to explore the woods a bit. What's the harm? There was still a path, just narrow. Nothing like the wide open fields and soccer pitches we'd just left behind. He kept talking about skating. Then, out of nowhere, he turned the flashlight off. At first, I laughed, thinking maybe it died. But no, he'd turned it off. The next thing I remember, 2 hands on my throat. My feet left the ground. It didn't register right away. It all happened too fast. My brain couldn't process it. Next, I felt a crushing impact on my lower back. He'd thrown me to the ground, and he was on top of me. I didn't scream. My body did. If anyone's been through something like this, they'll understand. It's like your body takes over, a survival mechanism. I wasn't thinking clearly, but my body screamed for me. He tried to, you know what. I kept fighting, or rather, my body did. I wasn't in control. Kicking, screaming, everything. But it worked. Maybe 20 seconds passed, maybe a minute, maybe 2. I lost track of time completely. Then, out of the distance, a man's voice. "Hey, what's going on?" A flashlight appeared. He got closer. He found me, found him on top of me. That guy was still fumbling around, barely able to unrest me. I was fighting like hell. Either I was strong or he was just weak. The man who found us grabbed him, put him in a headlock, and choked him out cold. I was still screaming, unable to stop. I couldn't control my body, shaking, crying, panicking. I'd wet myself. I was blacking out. I don't remember if I passed out. It was so dark anyway. But I heard the man's voice, calm, gentle. He tried to lift me, asked if I was okay. He said everything was going to be all right. He saved me. That guy didn't get the chance to hurt me. The man held him down and kept choking him out every time he came to until the police arrived. It was actually satisfying to watch. The police arrested him. The ambulance came for me. I was fine, at least physically. Just a panic attack and adrenaline overload. They gave me an injection to calm my heart because apparently I was going into AFib. They said I could have died from the stress. The man walked me home. He said I had to tell my parents. I didn't want to. I'd lied about where I was going. My dad would freak out. But when we got there, my dad didn't yell. He broke down. He offered the man $1,000, begged him to take it. The man refused. He just said, "Be more careful. There are so many creeps out there." That man was an angel in human disguise. I'll never forget that day.
Enjoying the story so far? If creepy tales are your thing, don't forget to like the video, leave a comment with your thoughts, and subscribe to the channel. And make sure to turn on notifications so you never miss what's coming next. Got a scary story of your own? If you have a true horror experience you'd like me to share on the channel, send it to the email address listed in the video description. Your story could be featured in an upcoming episode. Now, back to the horror.
My name's Joe, but my family call me Billy Joe. I'm born and bred in Oklahoma, red dirt, Friday night lights, and sunsets that make you want to write a country song. I ain't no fancy wordsmith, just a regular dude working in my uncle's auto shop, fixing dents and slapping on new tires. Life's pretty standard. Same routine, same faces. Then came the setup. My buddies, bless their hearts, thought I needed some romance in my life. They're all coupled up, bragging about their wives and kids, and they figured I was missing out. So they took it upon themselves to play matchmaker. "Billy Joe," my buddy Travis said, puffing his chest out like he's Dan Cupid, "you need a girl. You're gonna end up old and cranky talking to your ranch set." I just shrugged and laughed. "I ain't hurting nobody." "You're hurting yourself, man. You gotta get out there, live a little." So they said they had it handled. They knew this girl named Natalie. She worked over at the bank and was new in town, pretty as a picture, and single. They'd already sung my praises to her, probably exaggerating my charm. Before I knew it, they'd exchanged numbers and Natalie texted me. Honestly, I nearly choked on my Dr. Pepper when her name popped up on my phone. We texted back and forth for about a week or two. She seemed cool, down to earth, funny, and didn't mind our corny jokes. So we set up a date. Friday night at the old spaghetti warehouse. I'd heard their breadsticks were something special, and Travis recommended it. I spent way too long picking out an outfit. Ended up in clean jeans, a button-down shirt, ironed no less, and my best boots. I gotta admit, I was nervous. I hadn't been on a real date in forever. Driving over to pick her up, my palms were sweatier than a hog in July. Natalie lived in this small apartment complex. When she opened the door, I almost forgot my own name. She was that pretty. Long brown hair down to her waist, big blue eyes, and a smile that could melt butter. She said hi, and I just froze, thinking, oh crap, this is actually happening. Turns out my friends were right. I had zero confidence and no clue how to talk to women, especially ones this beautiful. The restaurant was packed, Friday night, of course. We waited a bit, then got a table. I made sure to pull out her chair like my mama taught me. She ordered some fancy pasta dish, and I went for spaghetti and meatballs. And of course, a mountain of those famous breadsticks. The date was going great. We laughed, shared stories, even made a few dumb jokes. I actually started thinking this could turn into something. Then it happened. We were mid-conversation, talking about her move from the east, when her eyes changed. Her fork clattered onto her plate. She started shaking, violently. It was like she was freezing to death, but the night was hot as hell. Her body jerked back and forth, her eyes rolling back. Then came this awful choking sound. I froze. I had no idea what was happening. People stared, but only one person offered to help. I started yelling her name and tried to steady her so she wouldn't fall. Her face was turning red. I thought she was dying. "Somebody call 911, I shouted. Everyone just stood there like they were in slow motion. A waitress rushed over, her face white with panic, probably thinking it was a food allergy. A guy in a cowboy hat pulled out his phone finally. It wasn't like the heart attacks I'd seen on TV. This was violent. I just held her hand and tried to stop her from falling out of the chair. The seizure seemed to last forever, but it was probably around 90 seconds. When it ended, her body went limp. She wasn't breathing right, just gasping every 10 or 20 seconds. I kept calling her name, lightly slapping her cheek. Her eyes fluttered open, blinking rapidly, but she didn't recognize me. Her first words were, "What happened?" I told her you had a seizure. An ambulance is on the way. When the paramedics arrived, it was chaos. They checked her vitals, hooked her up to machines, asked a ton of questions. After about 10 minutes, they wheeled her out on a stretcher. I followed like a lost puppy. "Can I ride with her?" "Are you family?" one of them said. "Kind of. It's our first date." He gave me a weird look, but nodded. "Hop in." The ride was a blur. She drifted in and out of consciousness, hooked up to monitors and oxygen. I just held her hand and prayed to a God I hadn't talked to in years. At the hospital, they took her to the emergency room. I sat in the waiting room feeling like I'd been hit by a truck. I called my buddies. They were speechless and rushed over as soon as they could. Travis clapped me on the back. "Man, that's rough. You okay?" "I don't know," I said, running my hair through my hair. "I thought she was going to die." We waited for hours. Finally, a doctor came out and said she was stable. They were running tests. It could be stress, lack of sleep, an allergic reaction, or something more serious like epilepsy. She'd be kept overnight for observation. I asked if I could see her. The doctor hesitated, then nodded. She was lying in the hospital bed, pale, exhausted, wires and tubes everywhere. She opened her eyes when I walked in and looked confused. "Billy Joe?" She whispered. "Hey," I said, gently taking her hand. "How are you feeling?" "Like I got hit by a bus. What happened?" I explained everything. She stared at me like I was making it up. "I don't remember any of it. This has never happened before." "It's okay," I said. "The doctors are going to figure it out." I stayed with her a while, talking quietly. Eventually she fell asleep. I kissed her forehead and left, completely drained. The next few weeks were a roller coaster. Natalie was in the hospital for a month while they ran every test imaginable. Turns out she had a rare form of epilepsy that had never shown itself before. They started her on a special medication and told us how to manage it. I visited her every lunch break and picked her up after work. Sometimes she wanted to talk. Sometimes she just wanted to sleep. Sometimes she was scared. Sometimes she was angry. Sometimes she just wanted to make love, and I never argued. She's my girlfriend now, and I care for her deeply. My buddies kept checking on me. They felt guilty, like they were responsible. I told them it wasn't their fault. No one could have seen this coming. Seeing someone like that, Thinking you're going to lose them, it changes you. Makes you realize what really matters. Not truck dance, not gas prices, not football scores. What matters is the people you love. Natalie eventually got out of the hospital. She was still weak, but getting stronger every day. The doctor said more seizures might happen, but the meds should help. We kept seeing each other. It wasn't always easy, but we'd already been through something intense, something that bonded us in a way dinner and flowers never could. Our first date was a disaster, but it was the start of something real, something that taught me about love, about life, and about holding on to what matters. And yeah, it's a hell of a story to tell at parties. So, that's how I went on a first date with a girl named Natalie from across the road and ended up thinking she was going to die right in front of me. It ain't no fairy tale, but it's real. And I wouldn't trade it for anything.
Thanks for sticking around till the end. If you enjoyed the story, don't forget to give the video a like and leave a comment with your thoughts. And if you haven't already, hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications so you never miss a terrifying tale. See you in the next one.